everyone, this is MykeCheck'd 95. We're going to take a step back away from the Friday the 13th series for one quick moment because I wanted to get my thoughts out on a film that came out last year that I actually saw about a month ago finally. So I finally had the time to actually watch it. But when the film came out, it stirred up a lot of controversy in the fan base and a lot of divided fans on what they liked and what they didn't like. And that film I'm talking about is Terminator Dark Fate. Now I know there's going to be people in the comment section just typing away saying it's a bad movie and my opinion's wrong. But everyone has their own opinion. I'm here to have a polite discussion with anyone in the comments about their thoughts on the film. And I will continue to have a polite conversation with those in the comments about the film if they don't get hostile about it. If they start to get hostile, then I'll just completely ignore your comments and just go from there. But before I get into the film, I am an avid fan of the Terminator franchise. It doesn't matter how bad the film is or whatever, I'm a fan of it. T1 and T2 are by far the two best films in the Terminator franchise. T2 is arguably the best film, if not arguably, but worldwide loved as the favorite film. I mean, there's some that say the first one's better. I'm one of those fans that think Terminator 2 is the perfect sequel and one of the greatest action films ever made. To get to my point about why I'm an avid fan of the series, even if some of the films are bad. All 6 of these films I like because the first 2 is obviously because they're done very, very well. The third one, granted, it is very slow. I feel like it's very boring. It doesn't really deliver anything new to the series. I like the concept of time travel, machines, and post-apocalyptic, and machines taking over the world. I think that concept is, I guess you can say, cool, and it's interesting to actually dive into and actually learn for it. But yeah, Terminator 3, to me it's slow. It doesn't deliver much. But it still had its tiny perks here and there. It didn't really have a lot in the film that actually made fans happy. It was the first film I saw growing up in its entirety before I actually watched Terminator 1, Terminator 2, which obviously I went back and watched 1 and 2, and I think Terminator 2 and 1 are better than Terminator 3. As like a fan aspect, I'm still going to like Terminator 3 for the little bits here and there, but I also understand that it's not the best one. Terminator Salvation, I hated this film when it first came out. I was one of those people that actually did not like this film at all. But thinking about it again, looking back at it, I started to give the film some more props for what they tried to do. It's actually the only film in the series that actually shows the war that's going on during the machines versus humans after the world goes kaboom because the machines think humans are obsolete. And also Salvation was kind of ruined by the trailer. Whoever edited the trailer ruined it. Every movie that has the trailer show the entire plot, it technically ruins the movie, but that doesn't really tell me that it's going to be a bad movie. In some cases, yeah, it ends up being a bad movie. But in Terminator Salvation, as I look back, it deserves a lot more than it gets. For all the hate it got, for some of the hate it got, especially from me. But nowadays, I would say I enjoy it. I mean, there's probably still some aspects I'm kind of like, eh. Everyone knows about the Christian Bale outburst scene while he was filming it. It's still a decent film. It's not terrible. It's better than Terminator 3, but it's not terrible. Terminator Genesis is my least favorite film in the series. A lot of other YouTube reviewers I do agree with their points and everything they do. It's convoluted, it's confusing, there's a lot of unanswered questions in the film. But I still like it because the producers and director and the people behind the project are attempting to try something new with the movie, and I'll give them props for actually trying something a little different, especially with the whole time travel aspect and kind of changing some things here and there. But it didn't deliver that well, which still made the film confusing, but it wasn't horrible. Will I go back and watch it again? Not exactly, but it's not as bad as I thought it was the very first time I watched it. Now, let's get to Terminator Dark Fate, the film that I view that is split down the middle, with the fans hating it or liking it. Probably more so people hating it than more people liking it, so it's kind of like 60-40 or 80-20. there is a few YouTubers that I do follow that I agree with, that actually like the film. I understand that there are a lot of fans out there that absolutely hate what they did in the beginning when they killed off John Connor, because they view John Connor as the leader of the Resistance, and it changes the whole storyline and everything. I hate to like start an argument, and like I said, I'm down for civil conversations in the comment sections below about this, but I don't really hate this decision. I was shocked by it, by the decision of killing John Connor in the first 5 minutes of the movie, but I don't hate it. It's like I said about Terminator Genisys, it's them trying something new with the franchise and branching off to another idea, even though it's kind of the same plot as like the first 3, and kind of Genisys, even though Genisys is kind of its own egg in the batch. It's the weird egg that, or it's the weird kid of the bunch. Genisys is the weird kid of the bunch. Here's why I feel like them killing off John Connor wasn't exactly a bad thing. Now, they've been running through the same plot line pretty much through the first 5 films, besides the fact that they turned John Connor evil in Genisys. That's been the solid point throughout all of these films. It's always been John Connor as the leader of the Resistance. I'm going to go out on a limb out here, and I'm going to give a shout out to Cody Leach, because I saw his review for this film after I watched the film like a month ago. I actually agree with him, just for the fact that they did run John Connor's character into the ground, and they kind of wore out the idea of him being leader of the Resistance. In my opinion, like, it can't really be like one man or like one person, just that's like the prophecy and everything. But yeah, I mean, there's always prophecies and everything, but when it comes to this case, like, I don't really believe that after seeing these first 5 films, because I feel like John Connor, the character of John Connor is kind of, like I said, it's been buried into the ground. The point's been driven into everyone's heads. They've kind of burnt the character out and the idea out of him being the savior of humanity for this whole thing. Not that I say that I didn't like the idea. I was behind the idea of John Connor being the leader of the Resistance. It's just, they were trying something new. And in my opinion, it's my opinion, I kind of like the fact that they were trying something new. They were trying to find somebody else that can be the leader of the Resistance, because, you know, there's always contingency plans when bad stuff hits the fan. You can't really please everyone when it comes to movies, because there can be like the best movie in the world. Like, my opinion, like, this is going off topic a little bit, I think The Dark Knight is probably the greatest comic book superhero film of all time. But there's probably that one fan out there that doesn't think that, and they think Batman and Robin is the greatest comic book film, superhero film of all time, which I would say it's not. I think it's the worst. But that's kind of stretching on a point there, but you get my point. Like, not everyone can be pleased on each movie. Everyone's got their own opinion. Everyone likes these certain films, and everyone hates certain films. I just happen to actually sit down, actually enjoy Dark Fate for what they did and what they continued on with the rest of the film. Acting-wise, I would say it was done very well. I like the new Rev 9 machine, it was interesting to see this new AI taking the place of Skynet after Skynet eliminated John Connor completely. I liked all the actors in this film. The main lead, the young girl, she was alright. Like, I mean, she had some parts here and there that were kind of like, a tad cringy, but it wasn't terrible. The new Protector plus the T-800 Protector, it's kind of unique seeing 2 machines and protecting one human being, along with Linda Hamilton protecting this new prophecy for saving humanity. The only thing I found kind of confusing was the whole aspect of the T-800 developing a conscience over time. That all just depends on how the machine was made and how it's programmed. If the T-800 was programmed to develop feelings over time, then that makes sense, but they didn't really explain that that's how he was programmed. He just kind of got them. Kind of want to say I bought into it, because, I mean, I'm kind of a sucker for these Terminator films, as I stated in the very beginning, and I kind of like the whole emotional tie with him and Linda. doing it for John, and him sending all these coordinates to her, unbeknownst to her knowing, just for John, taking out all these other machines that are out to try and kill whoever else is supposed to be the new leader of the Resistance. That was a little iffy, and you kind of had to like grab for a plot line that works and kind of stick it together, and hopefully it works even if the bricks don't fit. The ending was a little emotional, I would say, for myself. I thought that they did a decent job. Like, it's not the best Terminator film. I still think Terminator 2 is the best, but it's up there. Like, I would say it's top 3. Like I said, my shout out to Cody Leach, and another shout out for Bryan Lomax. They did a ranking of all these Terminator films, and their ranking list actually matches to mine, and probably a couple other people who've watched Terminator films and ranked them from worst to best. Like, I agree with their rankings, and I agree with their opinions that Dark Fate wasn't as bad as people make it out to be. If Terminator Dark Fate is the last Terminator film that we're going to be seeing for a very long time before they either do another sequel or reboot it, personally, I'm honestly happy with the outcome. It wasn't bad, it was decent, a lot better than, I would say, 3 and Genesis. I would say it's tied with Salvation. It's kind of like right about here, like neck and neck, side by side. Another cringy scene was the Hummer scene where it falls in the water and everything. I was kind of over the top with the action, but I still liked it for the entertainment value and the action value. Action was good, acting was good. Them trying something new, being ballsy, and doing the whole John Connor thing. I like them taking a chance. Just reaching out and just trying something new, being ballsy, and doing a whole new plot, even though it's the same plot as the first 3. I feel like Terminator Dark Fate deserves more credit than it gets. I'd honestly give it a 7.8 out of 10. And I know for all the haters out there, they're going to be blowing up my comments saying, oh, that's a bad rating, you should be giving it like a 1 or a 2, yada yada yada. Like I said, I'm here for a civil discussion about it. I will not talk to anyone who just wants to rage and rip into my contents and call me an idiot or call me a loser because I like bad movies. Now, on that note, civilly, what were your thoughts on Terminator Dark Fate? Do you feel like that what they did was cool and that what they did was ballsy and you actually liked it? Or, civilly, do you feel like what they did was wrong and ruined the movie for you? I'm open for discussion, like I said 1,000 times in this review, and those are my exact thoughts on Terminator Dark Fate. My next review will be not another Friday the 13th film, but it'll be another movie that I saw this year that has my exact opposite thoughts as I did for Dark Fate. But until then, this is MykeCheck'd 95 for another MykeCheck'd Productions review. Signing out.